Okay, now we're going to look at how to design an email. So we're up to the top navigation, moving along, we're going to go to Build Campaign. Now we've got some choices to make. On the right here we've got My Gallery. This is if you want to create custom templates or master templates that you want to use over and over again. Next up we've got Code Email. This is if you've been supplied with your own HTML, so if you've used an external agency to design you something and they've given you the HTML, from there you can just cut and paste that in. But the route that we're going to take here is Design Email, so let's click on that. Okay, so the software contains a full library of pre-built templates that you are very welcome to use as a jumping off point for your own design. As you can see, there are lots and lots in here in all different styles. And we can also navigate between those sections as well. So if you're looking for seasonal emails, etc. There's also an AI builder up here. So you can use AI to go off and build you a whole template. You can specify your company logo, any branding. You can ask for direction of curated text and images, etc. And AI will go off and build all of that for you. So the route that we're going to take here is Design Email. So that's just loading. So the first job that we need to do is to give that campaign a name. So this is not customer facing. Let's call that Q4 Send. Okay, so the screen that we're looking at here is split into two parts. On the left here, this is the window where we're going to design our email. And on the right here, we've got all of the tools that we've got available to design that email. This is split into three parts if you look at the top here. Structure is for creating your wire framework. So think of that as like designing your basic layout of all of the boxes where you could drop content into. So here we can see we've got a 50-50 split, a 60-40 and split into thirds, and this one is 100% width. So all of these can be dragged around the page by just picking them up and moving them. We can hover over them, we can also delete them just like that. Okay, so moving on from there, the next section is content. So this contains all of the blocks that we may want to insert into that framework. We've got things like text, images, buttons, dividing lines, spacers, social media, links to video, and you can also use AI text if you want to, and import your own HTML. So what we're going to use here is we are going to use an image block at the top. So we're just dragging over and dropping into the appropriate space. And now we're going to move down to this 100% width block, and we're going to put image in there. And we are going to put some text in here. And then we could have a button underneath. And we could also put a dividing line. And we could also put some social media links in. So now we're going to start populating all of that. So what we're going to do here, so if we hover over this, you'll see that we've got three options. X will delete it. The middle icon is a clone, so that will enable you to create a copy of it. And the third one is pencil icon. So this one means that we're going to edit it, so we hit the pencil icon. So we're now inside that particular block. So if we move across to the right here, now I want to insert an image in here. So let's hit the image tile. So we're now inside the image library. Every time you upload an image, it will live inside here. The software groups these depending on when you've uploaded them. So here we can see they're all split out in month order. You can also create a folder system here if you want to. We have the plus icon there. So if you want to create a folder of everything that you might use quite a bit, like your corporate branding, for example, you can do so just there. We can also upload an image just there. If we hit that, we go into the file uploader, and you can upload an image, or you can also upload a PDF document if you wanted to link to it, for example. So I'm going to look for one that we've used before. So let's scroll down here, and here's a logo that I've used before. So let's click on that, and we hit Use Image. Okay, there's our image. So we could hyperlink that if we want to. That means now if anyone clicks on that image, it will be taken through to that web page. So here we've got the style option. Anywhere where you see the style option means that you've got a whole set of extra parameters that you can tweak and change. So here we could, for example, make that a little bit smaller. We could align it right. And we could push it down the page a little bit. Okay. Next up, let's look at that text block. So we know now that we hit the pencil icon. So I'm just going to delete the placeholder text that's in there, and I'm just going to put a telephone number in there. Okay, so here's that style option. So let's hit that, and we can change the font size. We can make that bigger. We can align that right, and let's change the color. So let's pick red, for example. So if you have your own corporate colors, if you've been given the hex code, you can cut and paste that into this section here, and the software will remember that color choice and it will put it down in the favorites section. So you only need to do that once. It will appear down here and the software will remember that. Okay, we could change the font if we want to. Here we are, let's make that a bit heavier. And let's push that down the page a little bit. Okay, so now we are going to look at this main 100% width one. So let's hit the pencil icon and hit the image tile. Okay, one of the other things that we can do is we can browse Pixabay for stock images. So let's click on that. Pixabay is a library of millions of professionally taken and edited copyright-free images. So all we got to do is search for what we want here. So let's search for wine bar, for example. Okay, and here's all the images of a wine bar. And let's pick one that we like the look of. Let's have this one and use that image. Okay, there's our image. One of the other things that we can do here is the software has an inbuilt cropping tool. So to save you the hassle of having to take the image into Photoshop, change it, and then re-import it, you can do all of this inside your mailer. So let's hit crop here. So this image is a little bit too tall, so I'm just going to shave a bit off the top, and then again a little bit off the bottom, and then I can reposition that. There we are, that's about right. Let's hit finish. Okay, that's done. Now I'm going to put some text in. So we're going to use mail merge here. So when we imported a list and we had first names, last names and company names, as we touched on, you can import up to 50 columns of data, and it means that all of this will be available to recall inside an email. This makes it great for personalization. But with this one, all I want to do is just recall the person's first name. So I put my salutation in there, and to recall merge data, we hit merge just there. So anything that you've imported will be available for you to see just here. So let's hit that. So now when that email goes out, all of these emails will be personalized to the correct first name. So there's that style option. So let's change that. Let's make the font bigger. And let's put some spacing around that, top and left and right. Okay, that's good. Okay, now we're going to look at the button. So this is our call to action button. Now what I want to do here is I want to link this button to a download, a PDF. So I'm going to have on here, view our report. And if you just wanted to link it to a web URL, you can just cut and paste the web URL in that little box there. But I'm going to link this now to a PDF. Now I've already uploaded a PDF. So just to recap, to upload documents, we hit the grey file upload button. Now I'm going to link to this PDF just here. And there we are, that's where that lives. So if people click on that button, they will now be able to download our PDF report. Right, here's the style option, so let's style that. Okay, so now the software's remembered that red that we used at the top for the phone number, so I'm going to use that colour. Okay, we can bump the font size up a little bit and make that a bit bigger, a bit wider. See, there's all manner of different styling options here. We can round the corners a little bit. Okay, that's great. Right, next up I'm going to look at social media at the bottom here. Pencil icon. Okay, so we can add different social media networks. So all of the icon sets are already in here. So let's have Instagram, for example. And here we'd put our Instagram feed. I'm just going to put an example in there for now. We can reorder all of these by just dragging them around the page. And you can delete them with the trash can icon. Now I'm going to style these. So there's lots of choice of different icon sets that you can use, so you can come up with something that works with your design. And I'm going to select just the icon, and let's just have them in monochrome and circular. And again, I can put some spacing around them. There we are. Okay, so now we're going to look at giving it a subject header line. So this is recipient facing, and whatever you type in this box here means that people are going to see that as the subject header in their email. So let's type in here, welcome to our newsletter. Now, one of the cool things that you can do here is you can use mail merge also. So I'm going to insert the person's first name here. So when that goes out, it will be mail merged to each individual. And you can also use emojis. So let's put a smiley face in there. Okay, now we would want to preview this email. So I want to have a look and see what this is going to look like when it hits people's inboxes. So we are actions, top left, and we now go to inbox preview. So the software is now rendering a copy of that so you can see what it's going to look like on desktop and mobile. So here we are. This is how this email is going to look on desktop, but we can also scan through here and we can look at all the various different mobile devices. Now we update this list pretty regularly as new devices are released. So the software will create what's termed as a fluid design. This means you don't need to do anything in terms of making this look great for mobile and for desktop. The software will automatically scale it. One of the things that it's done here that we can see is it's made this button bigger, so it spans 100% width for mobile, and also with the company logo at the top. Now all of these settings are on by default. You can override them if you want to. Okay. One of the other things we can do here, there's also an edit undo feature. So in this particular design session, the software has been tracking everything that we've done. So if I liked how this looked before I changed the subject header line, for example, I can just step back to that particular stage there. So let's come out of there. And you can also navigate backwards as well without having to use that menu system. Now I'm going to come out of this with save and exit here. So the software will auto-save every 60 seconds. That stops you being able to accidentally exit and losing the last 30 minutes worth of work, for example. So let's come out of there. Let's go back to the dashboard. Okay, so that concludes how to build an email.